Welcome to the deep dive. You know, we often think of style as, well, just clothes, right? Or maybe the latest runway trends.
Hmm.
But what if style is actually a much more powerful language, something that shapes how we see the world, how we define an era, even how we picture this specific year, 2025?
It's fascinating when you put it like that. Style really does act as a kind of cultural shorthand, a
Exactly.
visual language communicating, well, everything from who someone is
Mm.
to these broader shifts in society. It's definitely not just about fashion.
Hmm.
It's presence, impact,
Yeah.
sometimes just a magnetic resonance.
Absolutely. That idea, cultural shorthand, that really resonates. And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Okay.
Our mission for this deep dive is to pull out the most important nuggets of insight from this really fascinating list we got from fashion news editor Anthony Ratuno. It's called The Most Stylish People of 2025 So Far.
Right. And this list, it isn't just your typical fashionistas.
No.
It identifies 33 individuals, but also fictional characters, even, believe it or not, inanimate objects whose style has just undeniably grabbed attention in the first half of the year.
It's quite the mix.
It really is. The source notes the attire spans this huge spectrum. You've got vestments, like religious robes, all the way to hospital scrubs, then feathered overcoats next to flight suits and flared jeans. And here's where it gets really interesting. Attention wasn't just about clothes.
Right.
It was captured by furry bodies, distinctive teeth, or just a magnetic presence.
That is quite a range. Now, before we jump right in, just a quick caveat for you listening.
Sure.
Style is subjective, inherently so. Some names on this list might make you think, really? And, you know, with 6 months of 2025 still left, relevance can definitely shift.
That's true. Things change fast.
But that's kind of what makes this deep dive interesting, right? It's your shortcut to understanding the surprising ways style is popping up this year. We're hoping for some real aha moments about what actually defines a trendsetter today.
Yeah, and looking at this diverse group, I think a key takeaway is that influence really does extend far beyond, the usual fashion icons.
So where should we start?
Well, maybe let's begin with how music and performance are amplifying personas through really distinct style choices this year. It's like crafting an entire visual world.
Okay, that sounds like a perfect place to start. Let's kick off with the rapper. Their aesthetic is described as an amalgamation of long braids, afros, artful nails, clones, and energetic clothes.
Mhm.
The source calls them one of the most exciting people to watch. So what does this amalgamation tell us about their impact?
Well, what's really insightful there is that this artist doesn't just wear clothes. They seem to craft an entire universe around their persona,
Right.
from hair to nails, even using clones, which is fascinating, to multiply their image. This kind of holistic visual identity, it signals a shift where an artist's public image is curated down to the tiniest detail. It almost blurs the line between performance and personal brand.
A complete sensory experience almost.
Exactly.
That's a deep level of artistry. And speaking of powerful visual identity, Lisa's journey this year, wow, it's been a masterclass in dramatic transformation.
Definitely.
We've seen her go from housekeeping attire on TV to glow-in-the-dark lingerie on stage, then inscrutable lace on the carpet.
Yeah.
How does someone pull off such huge shifts without, losing their audience? Is it authenticity or pure theater?
I think it highlights how modern artists are really using style as a dynamic narrative tool. They're actively shaping perception with each change.
Okay.
Lisa's drastic changes, they aren't just about being versatile. They show how a performer can challenge expectations, keep you guessing, by owning and performing every facet of this evolving identity. It feels like a deliberate, almost strategic theatricality. Fearless reinvention.
That's a great way to put it, fearless. And speaking of memorable impact, Kendrick Lamar,
Ah, yes.
a very specific style imprint this year, Super Bowl bell-bottoms. How does one item tied to such a huge event manage to define a style moment like that?
Well, Kendrick's bell-bottoms weren't just memorable. They subtly brought this powerful, almost counterculture vibe onto the biggest mainstream stage imaginable.
Right.
It shows how a single, unexpected garment can carry a covert message, maybe about authenticity influence, making a bold statement in a fleeting but incredibly visible moment. It's leveraging context to amplify impact.
You can really see that. Then there's Addison Rae. Her evolution from TikTok dancer to a performer commanding serious attention with her debut album Addison, it signifies a real style maturation.
It does.
Does her style evolution kind of mirror her artistic growth, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think her style transformation isn't just personal. It's a strategic visual signal of her artistic seriousness. It's a clear pivot away from her initial social media platform.
Makes sense.
It shows how celebrities, especially those moving between mediums, use fashion to maybe shed old associations and signal, hey, this is a new, more mature phase of my career.
That tracks. And then we have Romy Mars, highlighted as a rare Nepo baby singer. For those maybe not familiar, Nepo baby children of celebrities following similar paths. Her unique entry is her debut music video being directed by her mother, Sofia Coppola.
Right.
How does that kind of family connection shape a style debut?
Well, it certainly adds this unique layer of curated artistry right from the start. Having her mother, who's a renowned director with a very distinct aesthetic herself,
Totally.
means her style debut is inherently framed through an artistic lens. It immediately sets up a certain aesthetic, a creative pedigree. It kind of bypasses the usual industry introductions, giving her a very specific, almost bespoke entry.
Very intentional. Okay, let's broaden the view now from these individual statements to how global figures are impacting style. Shah Rukh Khan,
Huge star.
Bollywood's biggest star, one of the world's most famous actors, he made the Met Gala into his orbit, as the source puts it, as a first-time attendee. What's the significance there?
I think this is a really big moment for international style convergence.
Yeah.
It signifies the increasing globalization of fashion influence. You have a star from one of the world's largest film industries seamlessly integrating into, and maybe even shaping, this elite, traditionally Western fashion event. His presence kind of elevates the Met Gala beyond its usual boundaries, acknowledging a much wider cultural impact.
Massive indeed. And speaking of the Met Gala, who could forget Diana Ross?
Oh, absolutely unforgettable.
She just stole the show this year. White feathered hat and overcoat with an 18-foot train. It wasn't just an outfit, it was a statement.
It really was. Her presence alone is iconic, obviously, but that specific ensemble, it made such an impact because it wasn't about following a trend. It was this declarative statement of enduring legendary status. The sheer scale, the opulence, it asserted her as this timeless, unparalleled force. She almost overwhelmed the event with her presence. It really highlights how performance and celebrity are just so intertwined with what we perceive as stylish, especially for an icon like her.
Definitely. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Let's talk about character and craft specifically in acting roles and how that's shaping style this year. This is where method dressing gets really interesting.
Yes, because it's not just about what actors wear in public, right?
Yeah.
It's how their roles and even behind-the-scenes details inform their style, sometimes even for the characters.
Right.
Take Elijah Smokemore and Elias Stackmore in Michael B. Jordan's Sinners.
Okay.
The director, Ryan Coogler, actually revealed that Stack is a stylist of sorts for Smoke.
Yeah.
He defines that whole Dandy Twins look, meticulously put together, flamboyant, distinctive.
That's such a cool detail. It shows how deep character development is going, that the characters themselves are driving the style.
Exactly. And then you have Jennifer Tilly. Her guest spot on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills showcased, quote, a wit and a wardrobe, the likes of which the reality TV franchise had never seen.
Ah, I believe it.
How does someone like Tilly, with her distinct persona, elevate reality TV style game?
Well,
It's a great example of an established presence bringing, I think, a new level of sophistication and self-awareness to that world. Tilly's unique blend of genuine wit and this undeniably polished, often quirky wardrobe. It created this captivating contrast to the usual reality TV aesthetic. It proves that true style can inject a fresh dimension into pretty much any medium.
She definitely brought her own flavor. Now, Timothée Chalamet offers a fascinating contrast in his style choices this year.
Always interesting to watch him.
Right. Bob Dylan-inspired attire for award season while promoting a complete unknown versus New York Knicks superfan clothes for the NBA playoffs.
Wow.
What's this duality tell us about how actors channel different roles through clothes, even off-screen?
It perfectly illustrates how actors, especially those with strong public personas, are increasingly using their personal style as an extension of their work or their passions.
Like method dressing for real life.
Kind of. Chalamet is effectively method dressing for his various public appearances. He's signaling his artistic commitments or his personal allegiances. It shows a very deliberate choice to align his visual identity with whatever narrative he wants to project at that moment.
He really embodies those roles, even off-set. And Alexander Skarsgård also dove deep into method dressing for the gay biker film Pillion.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking thigh-high leather boots, sequin pants, and short shorts. That is extreme commitment.
It really is. What does pushing those boundaries for a role say about the craft today?
Well,
It speaks to an absolute dedication to immersive performance, where the external transformation feels as crucial as the internal one. That level of method dressing, it really blurs the lines between actor and character. It makes the film's aesthetic feel incredibly authentic and pushes the actor's physical presence to serve that character's unique world.
Total immersion. And then Parker Posey as Victoria Ratliff in The White Lotus. The source calls it a masterclass in Southern elitism and drawl. How does a character's regional and social identity get conveyed so powerfully through style?
Well, her character's style was just so deeply integrated into her persona and that specific regional identity. It's not just about wearing expensive clothes, it's the specific type of elitism conveyed through these careful, almost coded choices, fabric, cut, even how the clothes are worn,
Right.
and then perfectly complemented by her vocal delivery, that drawl.
Right.
It's subtle but powerful nonverbal communication of social standing.
You instantly knew who she was. And from Hacks, Megan Stalter as Kayla Schaefer.
Yes.
Now a Hollywood boss with her name on the door, but still rocking the same outre wardrobe from her assistant days. Outre meaning like unconventional, maybe bizarre.
Definitely unconventional.
What does it signify when a character style stays defiantly consistent despite a huge jump in status?
It speaks to authenticity, maybe, or perhaps a delightful subversion, even in this changing professional world.
I like that.
Kayla's unchanging, unconventional style suggests this unyielding personal statement, a refusal to conform to, typical executive expectations. It's a powerful visual cue that she hasn't lost herself, even as she gains power.
It's a strong statement. And a more classic example, Noah Weil.
Ah, Dr. Carter.
Exactly. Rabid fans of The Pit and maybe ER before it will attest, few things go better together than Noah Weil and a pair of scrubs. How does a uniform like that become so iconic?
It's an interesting phenomenon, isn't it? A utilitarian garment becomes so deeply embedded in pop culture, it almost transcends its original function. It defines a character for a generation.
Yeah.
It illustrates how consistent, recognizable attire, especially when tied to a beloved role, can forge this absolutely indelible visual identity.
It really can. And lastly, in this section, Amy Lou Wood, the English actress from The White Lotus, she charmed audiences with her natural smile. Okay, this isn't about clothes, but how does something like a natural smile contribute to someone's overall perceived style and impact?
Well, it reminds us that style isn't solely external. It's not just about what you wear. It's the entire package. The demeanor, the charisma, the genuine expression.
Good point.
Amy Lou Wood's natural charm, it highlights how confidence and authentic presence are just as powerful components of overall appeal. It contributes to how someone is perceived as inherently stylish, almost regardless of their wardrobe.
Okay, let's venture beyond the expected now. Let's see how style is showing up in sports, in the courts, and some really unexpected corners this year. This section really broadens our definition of stylish.
Indeed it does. Spike Lee, for instance.
Yeah.
An enduring Knicks superfan, we all know that.
Oh, yeah.
This year, he took his team spirit to the Cannes Film Festival, wearing outfits like a blue and orange striped suit,
At Cannes.
which he then wore days later at Madison Square Garden for a playoff game. What does this tell us about how personal passion can become a distinct fashion statement?
He's just so consistent in his passion, isn't he? It translates directly to his style. It's almost his uniform, that Knicks look.
It really is.
And Coco Gauff, what a year for her.
Incredible.
First American athlete in a decade to win the French Open women's singles, and she became the first Miu Miu girl to do so. How does that dual achievement, athletic prowess, and high fashion endorsement position her as a style influencer?
Well, her influence truly spans both worlds now, sports and fashion.
Yeah.
That makes her a pretty formidable trendsetter.
Yeah.
This powerful synergy, athletic achievement plus high fashion endorsement, it highlights a growing trend where top athletes are recognized not just for performance, but for their personal brand, their style choices. They become impactful cultural figures way beyond their sport.
That's a strong double threat. Similarly, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the Oklahoma City Thunder guard,
SGA.
recognized as one of the NBA's best-dressed athletes, and he also became lead champion and MVP. How does an athlete's personal style complement and amplify their on-court success today?
It really underscores how an athlete's personal style now powerfully complements their athletic ability. It contributes significantly to their overall marketability, their iconic status.
It's the whole package.
It's no longer just about the game. It's about the holistic persona. For Gilgeous-Alexander, his distinct fashion sense has become such an integral part of his compelling public image. He's more than just a player. He's becoming a cultural icon.
Okay, here's one that really came out of left field. Jordan Hudson,
Right.
a reclusive Maine beauty queen, becomes an overnight sensation just by butting into an interview that her boyfriend, Bill Belichick, was giving. This isn't about what she wore at all.
No.
How can an unscripted viral moment catapult someone into the style conversation through sheer unexpected visibility?
It's a fascinating case, isn't it? An unexpected moment creates viral attention, and by extension, a form of public style, just through sudden, almost out of context visibility. Her unexpected appearance, not her clothes, made her a topic of conversation. It demonstrates that the sheer act of being seen in a surprising way can be its own form of style impact in this digital age. Wild.
It really is. And then an entry you definitely don't expect on a style list. Pope Leo XIV. Robert Francis Prevost became the first American pope in May, which brought him unique distinction and, yes, quote, access to finery. What's the significance of including a spiritual leader here? How do his vestments play into that?
This inclusion really pushes our definition of style, doesn't it? Pope Leo XIV's significance isn't about setting trends, obviously. It's about this unique intersection of spiritual authority, historical vestments, and national identity. His role naturally brings him into the realm of these unique, often centuries-old garments that carry immense symbolic weight. It reminds us that finery can also be about tradition and ritual, not just contemporary fashion.
A very different kind of style.
All
And
right.
then there's A$AP Rocky.
Always stylish.
Somehow turning his recent criminal trial, where he was acquitted, by the way, into something more like a fashion shoot by showing up in a Saint Laurent suit and a coat by Gucci. How does someone like him manage to subvert such a serious legal context with clothes, asserting control over his image even then?
It speaks to the incredible power of self-presentation, doesn't it? Strategic image management, even in the most formal, high-stakes settings.
Definitely.
A$AP Rocky deliberately used high fashion to maybe reclaim narrative control during a very public trial, signaling defiance, confidence, effectively transforming a courtroom into a stage for his personal brand. It's kind of a masterclass in visual communication under pressure.
He absolutely reframed the context with his clothing choices. Amazing. Finally, Gabby Windey.
From The Traitors.
Yes, the nurse and NFL cheerleader turned reality TV star on The Traitors, Season 3. She won over fans with a droll, deadpan way of speaking that earned her comparisons to Jennifer Coolidge.
High praise.
Right. What does her popularity, based on wit and demeanor, tell us about what defines someone as stylish beyond just their clothes?
Again, it really reinforces that style encompasses the entire persona. Gabby Windey's appeal, rooted in her distinctive, dry wit and deadpan delivery, it highlights how a unique personality and voice can create this powerful magnetic presence that translates into cultural relevance. Even without specific fashion choices being the focus, her style is pure authentic charisma.
It's about an authentic personality that really resonates. Okay, our final category explores how design, art, and even accessories are becoming these objects of desire that influence style.
Right.
This is where it gets really interesting for those aha moments about how broadly style is defined in 2025.
Indeed. We're talking about things that aren't people but still have immense stylistic impact. Take Labubu, for instance.
The boo-boo.
Yes, these fuzzy, pastel-colored dolls, described as hot accessories, collected by celebrities like Lisa, Rihanna, and Emma Roberts. How does a collectible toy become a high-fashion accessory? What does that signify?
It's incredible, isn't it? A collectible toy becoming a fashion statement. It really blurs the lines between, well, toys and luxury items. Very 2025.
Totally. And then there's Ike Ude, the Nigerian artist and reluctant dandy.
Okay.
He played an outsized role in shaping the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Superfine, Tailoring Black Style exhibition, which was the basis for this year's Met Gala theme.
Wow, so he influenced the whole Met Gala.
His influence directly shaped the broader fashion conversation by providing the intellectual and aesthetic framework for the gala itself. Uday, through his art and personal style as a dandy, someone who really focuses on appearance and refined language, curated this profound exploration of Black style. It shows how artistic vision can set the tone for global fashion. Influence from the ground up, you could say.
That's major influence. And speaking of a return, Takaji Murakami designed Louis Vuitton handbags.
Ah, the Y2K vibes.
Totally. Hallmark of early 2000s fashion. They've made a major comeback this year as interest in millennial culture has surged. What does this resurgence tell us about fashion cycles and nostalgia?
Well, it highlights the potent influence of nostalgia, definitely, and the cyclical nature of fashion trends.
It always comes back around.
Pretty much. The return of these Murakami bags isn't just about the design itself. It's about this broader cultural re-engagement with the early 2000s, often driven by younger generations discovering and recontextualizing past aesthetics.
Mm.
It shows how a specific artist-designer collaboration can really define an era and then resurface with totally new relevance.
This cycle continues. And Connor Ives, the fashion designer, his T-shirt with the slogan "Protect the Dolls" became a hot commodity after he showed it on the runway back in February.
Right.
How does a simple slogan on a T-shirt capture the zeitgeist and become such a desired item?
It demonstrates how a single, well-timed design can just become a phenomenon. The Protect the Dolls slogan, it's concise, it's provocative, and it resonates with the contemporary cultural conversation, maybe around digital identities, online personas that hold doll-like aesthetic.
Ah, okay.
It becomes a wearable statement, transforming a simple garment into a piece of cultural commentary that people want to buy into.
That's fascinating. And finally, adding to the spectacle of the Blue Origin all-female spaceflight, the new sexy suits made especially for the all-female crew. That included Amanda Nguyen, Lauren Sanchez, Gail King, Aishu Bo, Carrie-Anne Flynn, and Katy Perry.
Quite a crew.
How does even functional, specialized attire like spacesuits contribute to the broader narrative of style and spectacle?
Well, it explores how even utilitarian, highly specialized gear can be designed for aesthetic impact. It adds to the spectacle of a really groundbreaking event.
Sure.
These suits aren't just about protection, they're about visual binding. They signal innovation, empowerment, maybe a modern aesthetic within a scientific context. The design of what they wore became an integral part of the event's style narrative, pushing the boundaries of what we might even consider fashion.
Amazing how even spacesuits can be part of the style conversation. So, wrapping this all up, what does this mean for us? We've covered, everything from a sports champions and popes to fictional characters and fuzzy dolls.
Yeah, if we connect this back to the bigger picture, it really means that style in 2025 is clearly defined by far more than just what's on the runway or a magazine.
Definitely.
It's defined by unique presences, unexpected moments that just capture the zeitgeist, and yeah, even inanimate objects, whether that influence is intentional or not.
Yeah.
It feels like a truly democratized, almost decentralized landscape of influence now.
Exactly. And understanding these incredibly diverse influences, it helps you listening at home quickly grasp the pulse of current culture. You see the many ways individuals and even objects are making a statement. It's about that magnetic pull of a persona, the impact of a specific look, or even just the surprising popularity of an accessory.
And it absolutely underscores that true style influence ultimately is about resonance and cultural impact, not just appearance. It's about being seen, being relevant, sparking conversation.
Couldn't agree more. This deep dive has truly offered a unique glimpse into the multifaceted world of 2025's style influences. It showcases just how varied and, frankly, surprising true impact can be.
It's been fascinating to unpack.
So as we wrap up, here's a final thought for you to maybe mull over. How might this increasing blur between traditional celebrity, digital influence, and even inanimate objects continue to redefine what it means to be stylish in the years ahead? And maybe, what completely new categories of style influencers might emerge next?